My presentation is being brought to you today, courtesy of Anaheim. So.
Here, do you want to just lift it up and set it on here then?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, switch this real quick. There we go.
All right. So the title of my presentation is Dance Meets Evaluation. So dance was the metaphor that I chose to kind of represent how I think about evaluation, or how it came across to me in this introductory course. I think this is due in part to the fact that my husband and I were taking a social dance class at the same time, and so that obviously influenced my thinking, but I've also found it a pretty good metaphor to think about things. I'll be representing both myself and Jennifer Alexander, who wasn't able to be with us today. So, and as we went through the course, as they've kind of mentioned, we all read Dr. Patton's book, and then we all read a text of our choice, and mine happened to be on appreciative inquiry, which is something that will show up in my presentation a little bit later. So, and if you haven't read it, highly recommend. Loved. It was great. All right, so dance meets evaluation. I did want to ask, do we have any dancers in the audience? Anyone that's familiar? 1, 2. Oh, good, okay. So we're not totally devoid of dancers, which makes me a lot more comfortable. So, if you ladies had to define what are kind of the essential pieces, especially of partner dance, what would you say they are? Like, in other words, if we don't have these pieces, we don't have a dance. Music, absolutely essential. Motion, okay.
There's an awareness of each other.
Awareness of each other, yeah, between partners, that's huge.
There's a connection.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Huh? Well, yeah, similar idea, but that actually is how I'm going to talk about it. So, I thought about kind of the essential elements of dance, and then I related it to what I kind of see as the essential elements of evaluation. So I'll go through those really quickly, and then I'll have kind of a synthesis slide at the end. So if you're worried about keeping up, that'll be just fine. Okay, so the first thing I noticed was in dance, especially partner dance, there's this kind of the essential element is the partnership. There's these two people that come together and create something, which we call a dance. And to me, in evaluation terms, that represented the stakeholders and then the evaluators. These are kind of the two main bodies that come together to create this thing that we call evaluation. Okay? And next, as was brought up, there's something that happens in dance that's called connection. And that's this force that happens between the two partners that keeps them together and allows them to work together even though their roles are very different. In evaluation terms, that spoke to me as communication, which I think is so essential between stakeholders and between evaluators to make this relationship work. Most dances revolve around a series of steps that if you're going to learn that type of dance, you learn the steps that correspond to it. And to me, in evaluation terms, this is the criteria. These are the things that we decide, well, this is what we're about in this certain evaluation. And finally, as Dr. Davies mentioned, music is a huge part of dance. In a way, it kind of determines the dance, because you can decide, well, I would like to waltz today, but if swing is what is playing, that makes it a little more difficult and it doesn't quite match up. So it's important to match. And again, this is, to me, is the context of the evaluation, which is kind of this overarching thing that existed before the evaluation and will continue to exist after it. So I think it's really important to find a match between the evaluation that's being done and the context in which it's being performed. So this is my synthesis slide that I promised you. So again, this is kind of the correspondence that I saw between partner dance and evaluation, especially the kind of evaluation that you would do in a developmental setting. And I'll come back to that as we go through. The next thing that I wanted to do is I actually found some dances that to me kind of represented some of the different kinds of evaluation we learned about during the course. And so I wanted to share those with you. So I'll share the dance first, so you can kind of see and get a sense of what that dance is, especially if you're not super familiar. And then I'll come back to this and talk about, to me, why this represented this certain type of evaluation. So, and we're going to be switching back and forth quite a bit, so I hope that doesn't bother anyone too much. Oh, did it not do it?
Escape first.
Oh, thank you. Of course. Maybe.
And then escape.
Yeah. Okay, and now we'll try it. Okay. And we'll. Oops. Is it going? So again, that's what I chose to represent kind of this music aspect, which is the context. The thing that I like about this clip, again, it kind of spoke to me is this is developmental situations. A bunch of people start getting together and start creating this thing that is designed to help the world. And as people listen, more people kind of become attracted to that and think it's a great idea and kind of join on. Another interesting thing about it is that to classical musicians, jazz music kind of seems like kind of a mess and kind of a weird, like, why would you do that? It's not well defined and all those sorts of things, but to the people that make it, it's the thing that makes the most sense because they just all contribute in their own way to this overall piece of music. So that's the music piece. And next, let's dive right into the different types of evaluation. And each one has kind of an intro slide so you'll know kind of the piece of, or the type of evaluation I was thinking of. So that should be right. Okay.
I love this dance.
Indeed, most invigorating.
Did you intend to say something, Mr. Darcy? I talked about the dance. Now you ought to remark on the size of the room or the number of couples.
Okay. In addition to being a shout out to Jane Austen fans in the audience, I liked this way of looking at formative and summative evaluation because as I learned about it, that's kind of how it came across to me. It's a more formal type of evaluation. One thing I liked in this dance is there's the very formal bow at the beginning and at the end. Again, it's kind of, okay, we begin the evaluation here and then it has this kind of definite end when we're done. Which is kind of unique to formative summative, it seems like. The partnership, they work together, they both know their roles, and they play them very well, including they even know, like, down to, now you say this, and I will say this. So there's kind of these defined roles that guide the evaluation.